The bottom line with the situation between us and the Creator on this planet Earth, the bottom line is that He wants us to obey Him. Yeah, okay? I mean, that's the bottom line. All the other stuff is stuff. At the end of the day, when it all comes down to it, the people that are claiming to be His people on planet Earth, His people, He wants them to obey Him. And why is that important? Why do I say that's the bottom line? Well, first of all, we know the scripture says it. Let's take a look at some witnesses from the scripture. Let's take 2 or 3 witnesses from the scripture, and let's start with that, okay? And let's start first at the one that's pretty well known among people that read the Bible anyway. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Ecclesiastes 12. And we're going to read from Ecclesiastes 12. We're going to read from verse 12 to verse 14. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 12, 13, and 14. And the scripture says, "And further by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Yah shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Fear Yah and keep his commandments." That's the whole duty of man. That's the bottom line. Okay? That's the bottom line. Let's get another witness. 1 Samuel chapter 15. 1 Samuel chapter 15. 1 Samuel 15. This is when one of the several times that Saul did not obey the command of the Most High given to him from the prophet Samuel or Shammah. Let's take a look at 1 Samuel chapter 15. I'm going to read 1 Samuel chapter 15 from verse 18. All right, I'm going to start at verse 16. From verse 16 down to verse 23. Okay, from verse 16 down to verse 23. Then Samuel said unto Shaul, "Stay, and I will tell thee what Yahweh hath said to me this night." And he said unto him, "Say on." And Samuel said, "When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Yasharal? And Yahweh anointed thee king over Yasharal? And Yahweh sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners of Amalek, of the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of Yahweh, but didst fly upon the spoil and didst evil in the sight of Yahweh?" And Shaul said unto Samuel, "Yea, I have obeyed the voice of Yahweh, and have gone the way which Yahweh hath sent me, and have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should not have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto Yahweh the Alim in Gilgal." And Samuel said, "Hath Yahweh as great in delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh, he hath also rejected thee from being king." So he disobeyed the command, and he's rejected as being king. And then Samuel tells him, obeying is better than any sacrifice you can make. And he says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, which Shaul would eventually sin and become and get with the witch of Endor and get into witchcraft. And stubbornness as iniquity and idolatry. So he was telling him the rebellion and stubbornness that's in you is like witchcraft and idolatry. And brothers and sisters, the thing that ultimately stops people from coming to the truth when they have an opportunity to come to the truth, the thing that ultimately stops a person is stubbornness and rebellion. This is what ends up stopping people. And that backed up behind that is pride. Pride. We were talking about this earlier. We are at a situation where the spiritual war between good and evil that is raging on planet Earth right in front of us, that is being manifest in the flesh in thousands of different ways. The spiritual war that is raging on the planet Earth is reached a new heights. It's reached a level of intensity that has never been since before the flood of Noah. Okay? The game is at an all-time high right now. And it is so serious. This war, this game of war is so serious that we can't play around with falsehoods and religion and philosophy. The Most High Yah, the creator of all things, has set his son before him in front of him, I should say, as the high priest, in order for us on the earth who are his people to overcome all our sin so that the Father can accept us. You see, disobedience is how this thing started. Okay? Disobedience is how this war started. First, there was disobedience in the courts of heaven with Satan trying to be God, with Satan secretly having a plan. I mean, secretly. And the Bible, see, the thing is, the Bible tells us, brothers and sisters, it shows us that we're going to be judged. Not only are we going to be judged on everything that we do, we are going to be judged on every act that we do. Not only that, not only are we going to be judged by every word that we say, but even the motives behind everything. The Bible shows us that. Let me show you, so you don't think I'm making stuff up. 1 Corinthians chapter 4. 1 Corinthians chapter 4. I'm going to read from verse 1 Corinthians chapter 4. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 5, and the emphasis is on verse 5. 1 Corinthians chapter 4 from 1 to 5. Notice what the Holy Word said. Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Messiah and stewards of the mysteries of Yahweh. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. But with me, it is a very small thing that I should be judged of you, or of man's judgment. Yea, I judge not mine own self. For I know nothing by myself, yet am I not hereby justified, but he that judges me is the master, Adoni. Therefore, judge nothing before the time, until Adoni come, who both will bring to light the hidden things of darkness, and will make manifest the counsels of the hearts. And then shall every man have praise of Yahweh. So he's going to bring to light, so everybody can see, all the things that's been hidden in darkness. All the mysteries we've been thinking is mysteries all through our lifetime and lifetimes before us, things people didn't realize was going on, what happened, he's going to bring it to light. And all the counsels of the hearts. He's not only going to show you what you did, he's going to show you the reason you did it that was in your heart at the time. He's going to show you. It's going to be made manifest for everybody to see. Okay? That being the case, we're living at a time in Earth's history where deception is at an all-time high. But not only that, wait a minute, listen carefully. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3, and I'll make sure you hear me now. Ready? You hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Okay. Listen. Deception's at an all-time high. And self-deception is at an all-time high. Let me say that again. Deception is at an all-time high. And self-deception is at an all-time high. You say, what do you mean by self-deception? Self-deception is where you're deceiving yourself because you don't want to know the truth. Well, who would do that? Well, I don't know. There's a lot of people that would do that. But you and I know that exists, doesn't it? I'm not like making that up. There are people that are self-deceived. There's a lot of reasons for it, but the bottom line reason is pride. It comes down to pride. It comes down to that. You can look at the history of Messiah's life on earth and see it, because the scribes and Pharisees saw all the signs of Messiahship in Yahushua. They saw all the signs of it. That when he spoke a word, there was a power in his teaching that the people said, it's not like the scribes. When this guy talks this, they sent men to arrest him, and the men came back without him. They said, why have you not brought him? And all they could say was, never a man spake like this man. And it wasn't just the words he said. He didn't make up new words. It was the power of the Spirit behind those words. The power of righteousness that they had not seen in any person coming off of Yahushua. It was evident of his messiahship. Beside that, in front of them, he healed people of diseases. He healed people of afflictions. In front of them, he cast out devils. In front of them, he raised people from the dead. But they had so denied out of their stubbornness and their greed for the power and money of Rome that they started being self-deceived, and they were denying what was going on right in front of them. And let me tell you, we talked about this some months ago. The people of planet Earth, especially, and I mean this, especially the United States of America, are fully prepared to receive the mark of the beast. I mean, they are fully prepared. There is no other preparation necessary for them to receive the mark. No other preparation necessary. They are fully in position. They are fully prepared to receive the mark right now. So some might ask, well then, why isn't it given? Is the mark of the beast about to be given? Yes. But you and I, those of us that have been in the studies and know what we preach here, the message the Most High has caused me to bear, is the only reason the mark of the beast hasn't been given out yet, the only reason all of them ain't running, and that's what I'm saying, there ain't gonna be nobody scared to receive it. They're gonna beg to receive it. The majority, 99% of the people, gonna beg to receive it because they're gonna think it's a blessing. Now, you say, why? Why haven't they got it yet? Only one reason. There's only one reason. The only thing that's lacking right now is the seal of the 144,000. That's the only thing that's lacking. There's nothing else lacking. There's nothing the United States government got to do. There's nothing Rome got to do. There's nothing the UN got to do. There's nothing them Ashkenazi Jews got to do in the Middle East. No, all them things that's got to be done is going to be done. But that's not what's lacking. The mark of the beast, the people are prepared. They're prepared to receive it. And why? Why? Because they have been not only deceived, not only brainwashed, but because now self-deception is taking root. Self-deception. Where people out of stubbornness and pride will hang on to a lie rather than humble themselves and admit when something is true. That's where we're at right now. That's where we're at. I want to tell you, like, I'm learning this myself. There's three things that the Most High is impressing my heart. Three things He's impressing my heart on a daily basis these days. Three things. Three: meekness, humility, and patience. He's impressing me with those things. I gotta be meek, which means people can do me wrong right in front of me and I got to stay cool. People can talk about me behind my back and I got to stay cool. People can try to do me wrong and smile in my face and I got to stay cool. That's meekness. That's meekness. See, meekness ain't letting people roll on you. That's not meekness. Meekness is understanding what's happening and staying cool. Like, for example, when Judas showed up in front of Messiah, Yahushua knew exactly what he was. He knew he was a traitor. He knew he was a con man. He knew he was a thief. The other disciples didn't know. The other disciples trusted Judas. Messiah knew exactly what he was and let him in and stayed cool. Stayed cool. 3.5 years, he stayed cool with that traitor and knew what he was. Okay, that's meekness. That's meekness. Moses, sister and brother talking about him like a dog behind his back, talking about his woman behind his back, and he knows about it. He stays cool. Meekness. Okay, that's meekness. You know somebody doing you wrong, you can see it. Stay cool. You just stay cool until the right time. Most High might bring a time when you're supposed to bring it out, but until that time, you got to stay cool. You've been in, you guys. Hey, wait! I want to tell y'all know what I'm talking about. You ever been in that situation? You know they're doing you wrong. You know it. They don't know you know it, but you know it, and you just watch. You just staying cool, staying cool. That's meekness. That's what meekness is. He's been bringing that to my mind. Patience, patience, patience. That is, you're in an uncomfortable position. You're in an uncomfortable situation, and you gotta just trust the Most High. You gotta just trust Him. You just gotta trust Him. You don't like the situation you're in. You don't like it. It's not something you would choose for yourself, but you know He led you into this situation. You have all the evidence in front of you that you didn't put yourself here. He put you here. Being that's the case, you got to stay cool. You got to trust Him. Trust Him. That's patience. That's patience. Okay. Okay. Meekness, patience, and the last one, humility. Humility. That means you are willing to admit when you're wrong. You have no problem admitting when you're wrong. When you teaching something, I'm teaching something in the scripture, and somebody comes to me and say, "Brother, have you ever looked at this?" And I realize I've been teaching wrong. Hey, listen, I'm wrong. Period. 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 Ain't no no, no, I'm wrong. Period. My son, I told you about my son. I used to beat that boy's behind like he was a bad mule. I ain't gonna lie to you. My father would put it on me and my brother. Shoot, man. The way, some of y'all back in the day know what I'm talking about. When some of them people would put some behind whooping on you, man, it wasn't no just spanking. No, it wasn't just no spanking. You was bruised, man. You was bruised up. And in fact, if it was today, they throw our fathers in jail. My father been in. If it was like based on today's standards, my father be in jail, and I would be in jail too. As a matter of fact, that's how I stopped beating my oldest son. I used to beat his behind, man. The drop of a hat, I'd be on that boy's butt, man. I was hard on him. I mean, and I admit I was wrong. The spirit was convicting me. You're going too hard. You're doing too much. This is an evil spirit. You need to back up a little bit. I was being too hard. One day, I came to his, and he was reacting as he should react based on it. Oh yeah, listen. My father one time came with the extension cord, and after he wailed on my brother with the extension cord till my father got tired, he walked out the room. Okay, walked out the room, went back upstairs, came back down with 2 or 3 straightened iron hangers He had taken the iron hangers, you know, the hangers you hang your shirts on, and he straightened them out, and he wrapped the end of it around his fist, and he walked back in the room and started beating him with that. That was after the extension cord. Okay, so y'all don't know about that, but I'm trying to tell you, I was beating my boys behind. Okay, one day he come home and he was, like I said, he was reacting as he should have, because he was getting abused by me. I was beating him. I was, and the Most High was telling me, you're overdoing it. You're overdoing it. Because that's how I got it, and that's how my father got it from his mother. Okay, my father got it like that and worse from his mother, and I got it from him, and I was passing it on to my son. This is before I got 4 children. He's the oldest. He caught the brunt of this thing. He caught it. My youngest 3, they were spoiled. They all, my son, my oldest boy, and I will have discussions about how I have spoiled the youngest 3. But one day I come to his school and his teacher told me he stuck up his middle finger at his teacher. What? Yeah, he disrespected me. I said, oh, no. I brought home and began to wail on his behind with my belt. And he was crying. He was yelling loud. The neighbors heard him yelling. Somebody called the police. I didn't even know. After I finished beating his behind, I went to work. Somebody called me at the job. It was my wife. Said, police has a warrant out for your arrest. What? Warrant out for my arrest? For what? Child abuse. What? I left. I was scared now, man. I was like, what? Went down to the police precinct right away. They said, yeah, somebody complained that you were beating your child. I said, yeah, I beat him. Said, no, you can't do that. You left bruises on. I said, yes, I did. They said, no, Mr. You can't do that. Can't do that, sir. No. We're gonna let you on. We're gonna let you go on your own recognizance, and you gotta go to court. So I went to court. And the judge said, you got to do a 10-week anger management. And if I ever hear you beating your child again, you're going to go to jail. That's what he told me. At that moment, it wasn't the anger management class. It wasn't the judge. It was, to me, it was like, wait a minute, man. The Most High the Spirit been telling me I was too hard on him. He's been telling me that. What is wrong with me? And I actually did not even know. And this is the point. I had no idea that it was a spirit that I had got from my father, which he had got from his mother, that I was inflicting on my son. I had no idea until then. Until I was standing before that judge, I realized, and I had to attend 10 weeks of anger management. I hardly remember anything the woman said in the class, but it was just having to go to the class. That was enough for me. It just had to, it was embarrassing. I had to go to the class. And I knew it was because I was too hard on the boy. Okay. And I had to humble myself to realize I was too hard. So then one day, years later, I stopped beating him, obviously. So then years later, he got to be 21. And I noticed patterns of anger in him that I had, that my father had, that my grandmother had. Same pattern he had. And I thought, oh my God, when this boy gets to have children of his own, you know what's going on, right? I said, no. At that time, I was living in New Hampshire. My son was living in Minnesota. I called him up. I said, I got to talk to you. He said, oh, what's up? I said, I got to talk to you. He said, well, go ahead. He said, I'm listening. I said, no. For this conversation, I got to see you face to face. He said, I can't fly out there. I said, no problem. I will fly you. It's very important. So I flew him from Minneapolis, Minnesota to New Hampshire, where I was living. Once I flew him in, picked him up, I brought him home, let him see his brothers and sisters and his mother, and we talked. Then I said, let's go. I drove him out to a place where me and him could talk. And I looked him in the eye. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry for what I did to you. I said, I was wrong. I was wrong. It was not easy. My father never did that to me. His mother never did that to him. But I felt it was time to break this curse. So I hugged him and I kissed him. And I said, son, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I said, I went overboard in punishing you. I shouldn't have been doing that to you. And I said, please do not do that to your children. Don't do that to your children. See, me and my oldest son, we have a very special relationship so that I could be calling him a self-hating coon at one time, and then I can be apologizing another time. We have a very special relationship. And I praise the Most High because he says to me, you know, Pop, he said, you ain't do nothing wrong. He said, if you didn't beat me like that, I'd end up in jail. And he's probably right because he got some habits, but it doesn't justify the amount of physical punishment I put on that boy. Does not justify it. And it doesn't matter in a sense that my father never did that to me. That don't matter. I wish he would, but he doesn't. It is what it is. But it's important for me to humble myself because I'm intending on standing with that 144,000. I'm intending on doing that. So I have to humble myself. It don't matter what everybody else does. It don't matter. I got to humble myself. And the Most High has been laying that on me for years, but it's been coming very strong these last couple months, especially. Humility, patience, meekness. And the way he's been showing me these things is different than what we've been taught in Christianity. I used to look at meekness as some soft, flowery thing, like almost something to be avoided, right? Like when you in the street and you walk in the road and brothers are sizing you up, whether they want to rob you, you know, meekness is the last thing you think about, right? In terms of being meek, right? Because like at that moment, you gotta be ready to roll, you gotta be ready to jump if somebody comes at you, right? But when you understand the true meekness, it doesn't mean you weak. It means you staying cool. That's what really meekness means. You staying cool. You see something about to happen, but you ain't reacting. You just staying cool. Humility means you humbling yourself. You're allowing yourself to be wrong and accepting that you can be wrong and admitting when you are wrong. That's humility, brothers and sisters. And patience is putting up with a bad situation that you know the Most High has you in because it's his will. And that's patience. That's right. That's patience. That's right. And he's been impressing me because, brothers and sisters, listen, we talked about the beginning of this talk. I'm telling y'all, the bottom line is to be obedient. That's the bottom line, man. See, when it comes down to it, The scriptures tell us in Revelation chapter 22, in Revelation chapter 22, Revelation 22, beginning at verse, let's see, Revelation 22 and verse 14 and 15. Notice Revelation 22 verses 14 and 15. It's all right. Revelation 22, 14 and 15. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Brothers and sisters, obedience is the bottom line. And when you're not obedient, your character ends up becoming like that of a liar. That's right. Because Asatan was the first one that wasn't obedient. Look what happened to him. He became the father of lies. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? So a person that's disobedient is going to end up being a liar. That's just how it works. And the Most High says, if you love me, he says through Messiah, after the other scriptures I gave you, if you love me, what? Keep my commandments. If you love me, keep my commandments. Obey. It's better than sacrifice. And you know, to hearken to the fat of lambs. You understand? Obey. So now, if the object of the Most High, if that's what he wants from you and me, he wants obedience, right? Then we got to figure out, how can we be obedient? Well, we don't actually have to figure it out. What we have to do is receive what he has given us as power to be obedient. You see what ends up happening, brothers and sisters, in this day and age, with people not obedient, they start saying things like this. Well, the Most High, he doesn't expect us to be perfect. You know, he don't expect us to be perfect. We just human. Oh, no. We're going to keep sinning. We're going to just keep sinning. We can never stop sinning. And then they start bringing out all of these other versions of the Bible that put away the gospel power, and then it waters down the truth. All these other versions, right? When obedience is the bottom line. And this is the thing that's so crazy about it, that if somebody just put their pride down and got on their knees and said humbly to the Most High, Yah, I know you want me to obey your word, but I am weak and I need you to help me obey, because I can't do it without you. If you just simply do that, he will show you how to do it. He will reveal to you his word. And we know the truth is justification by faith. It is the righteousness of the Spirit of Yahweh that he gives to you and me that causes us to be obedient. It's not just like us deciding to do it because we just strong enough to do it. No. It's the spirit of righteousness that he gives. He said, I will put them. Let me give you the scripture. Ezekiel 36, man. Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel is a powerful prophet of the end times. A lot of Ezekiel's words are in the book of Revelation, and we need to understand that. Ezekiel is a powerful book, and it's one of them that's neglected. Notice what it says in the gospel of justification by faith was in Ezekiel before Paul was ever born. And it was the apostle Paul, who was the apostle Shaul of the tribe of Benjamin, that the Most High revealed the justification by faith message in all, and I mean all of his epistles, that brothers don't understand, and it was given to Ezekiel first. We just don't understand it. Ezekiel chapter 36, and this is to the Israelite nation and those that join the Israelite nation through faith. Ezekiel chapter 36 from verse 24 down to verse 27. Notice what it says. For I will take you from among the heathen. That's the same thing Deuteronomy says. And gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. That's the promise. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you. That's baptism. And ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. New spirit. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put what? Wait. What? And I will put my spirit within you. What? Why? And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. In other words, you're going to be obedient by my spirit, not by might or by power, but by my spirit, saith Yahweh Sabaoth. You seen that? Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. That's how we're obedient. And that's the object, is for us to be obedient, to do his commandments. That's what he wants. Okay, everybody getting all prideful and making excuses and staying in these Christian churches and can't be obedient and making excuses. You're not going to be obedient, you see, until you are ready. See, wait. You and I cannot be obedient until we are ready to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yah, and more than just in word, but I mean in deed and in truth. You are ready to give all honor and glory to your Father. You don't want any put on you. You don't want anyone acknowledging you. You want him to get all the honor and glory. When you're ready to do that, his spirit is going to be poured on you, and you're going to be keeping his commandments. You're going to be keeping his commandments. This bottom line, it's going to happen. But the pride and the self-deception that is all over our culture right now, that's because the majority is going to be lost. There's no question about that. See, the Bible says, look, in fact, let me bring you this. let's go to 1 Peter. Let's go to 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 4. Oh yeah, and while we in the neighborhood, let's go over this Christian thing too. 1 Peter chapter 4. Notice again, 1 Peter chapter 4. He's talking about being reproached for the Messiah, right? Being reproached. In other words, what does it mean when you're being reproached? That means you're being made fun of, right? You're being derided. You're being looked down upon because you follow Messiah, right? Because you're following the truth. Notice what he said from 1 Peter chapter 4, from verse 13, from verse 12 down to verse 19. Okay, from verse 12 down to verse 19. Watch. Beloved, that is you Israelites, both of y'all, that both of y'all that are Israelites by the blood of Abraham, and y'all that are grafted in through faith in the Hebrew Messiah, Notice what it says. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Messiah's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If ye be reproached for the name of Messiah, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and of Yahweh resteth upon you. See, it's different when you say his name than you use the word God, right? When the spirit of glory and of Yahweh resteth upon you. And on their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is glorified. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. Let him glorify Yahweh on his behalf, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh. And if it first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of Yahweh commit the keeping of their souls to him in well-doing, as unto a faithful creator. He said, if any man suffer as a Christian, what does that mean? That means if they reproach you or delude you in calling you a Christian, because that's what it was. Christian wasn't something the disciples called each other. You don't hear them calling each other Christian in the Bible. The word Christian is only mentioned 3 times, and it's Gentiles calling Hebrews and Israelite converts Christian. It's them trying to make fun because the word Christian comes from the word Krishna. It's a god from the Middle East, Hare Krishna. It's the multiple gods that they worshipped. It's not the Hebrew Messiah, Krishna. So he said, if they call you Krishna, Don't be ashamed, because you're suffering as Messiah suffered. Don't worry about that. He said, if you're a murderer or a thief, or you're a gossiper, or meddling in other business you shouldn't be in, hey, that's a problem. But if they call you Christian, trying to make fun of you, don't worry about it. And the righteous are going to scarcely be saved. Scarcely. See, that's the 1/3 of the people that know they're Israelites. That's the 1/3. What about all these people in all these churches out here in Christianity and Islam? They got no shot. The last shot they're gonna get. I mean, let me let me rephrase that. The last shot they're gonna get is coming from these 144,000. When the 144,000 bring forth the final warning, come out of her, my people. He's calling his people out of these places, because them places getting ready to get destroyed. Them getting ready to get finished. Them getting ready to catch serious hell. And it's not going to be the majority that comes out. It's going to be a minority that comes out, a small group of people. It's not going to be a lot. The power that's going to attend the 144,000's message is going to be a power that hasn't been seen since the apostles brought it. When the apostles brought that message on the day of Pentecost with the power from on high, that was like actually a small fire compared to what's coming. Because this is, like I said, the game is coming to a head, brothers and sisters. This is the 4th quarter. The game, this is the 15th round right here. This is it. This is 1 minute to midnight. And the game is coming to an all-time high right now. So our Satan is breaking out everything he got, and the Most High breaking out everything he got. It's coming. The game is serious. And so the power that's going to attend them, brothers, when they bring that message, everybody's going to see it, and everybody's going to hear it, and it's going to shake the earth. It's going to shake the earth. But only a few is going to respond. You know why? You know why? Because the brothers that's giving it, they ain't going to be in no big temples. They ain't going to have no fancy cars. They ain't going to be in no silk suits. They ain't going to be stacking up paper. They ain't going to have nothing but that power. That's what they're going to have. And they ain't going to have nothing else. And the people that join up with them going to understand, you are giving up everything. You're giving up your money. You're giving up your house. You're giving up your car. You might be giving up your husband, your wife, your children. You might be giving up everything because you hear the Spirit calling you. You know it's truth. It's what you've been looking for your whole life. You just didn't know. And now they come. They're going to come to that. And it's going to be a minority of people, not the majority. It's going to answer that call. But the Most High is preparing, forming, shaping, developing that 144,000. And I'm telling you right now, he's convicting me. Humility, meekness, patience. And these are the attributes we're going to need. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shah. That's where we at right now, brothers. This is where we at. It's about the development of holiness and righteousness and truth. It's about being prepared to be sealed in the robe that he's got you wearing, that you're borrowing. We're borrowing the robe of righteousness. Messiah opened the way for us to borrow the Father's righteousness. He opened the way for us to do that. He opened the way for us to borrow the Father's righteousness. But now the Father wants to know, are you ready to keep that righteousness, or do I got to take it back? Are you ready to keep it, or do I got to take my coat back? See, because if you want to act a fool, if you want to be self-deceived out here and you want to play around with my truth, I'm going to take my coat back. I'm going to take it back, and you can go ahead and wear Satan's coat of self-deception. You can go ahead and believe what he wants you to believe. Go ahead and do that. Think you're going to live forever. Worship the goddess and do all that stuff. Go Easter egg hunting and do everything you want to do. But just give me my coat back if you don't want it. Okay? But for those that are serious, that are wearing this coat and understand the righteousness that they're wearing. Those that are bowing themselves in humility and patience and being cool and meekness. Those that are seeking the word, that are not letting anybody or anything veer you away from the word. Those are, he gonna look down, he gonna say, okay, I'm seeing that you not only are you wearing my robe, but you growing up in that robe, you growing up into it. Okay, I tell you what, you keep it, you can keep it, you can have it. I'm gonna grant you the righteousness. You can keep that righteousness for good. But there's gonna be others that had it, and you're gonna say, no, 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 give me my robe back. Give me my robe back. You're not disrespecting my robe. Give it back. And you're gonna take that spirit from them. And the truth they thought they knew, they're gonna forget that. See, brothers and sisters, let me show you something. Let me tell you one thing here. One of the signs, here's another sign of false teachers and people that you need to go away from. Let me tell you something. There's going to be people that look like you. They're going to dress like you. They're going to talk like you. Okay? And they're going to want you to trust them because of these things. But brothers and sisters, listen to me. If they in any wise want you to get away from the Bible, in any wise start doubting the word that you've been convicted on of truth, you need to step from them. You need to step. You hear what I'm saying? You need to step away. See, brothers and sisters, there's people in your life, in my life. I mean, there's people that got to be cut off. I mean, the spirit. I don't tell you who to cut off, but you know, and I know the spirit tells you you need to leave that one alone. You need to leave that one alone. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Testing 1, 2, 3. There's the spirit is telling you now, but that's my cousin, that's my best friend growing up, that's my mother, that's my father. You need to leave that one alone. You need to leave it alone. And you can tell because every time you get close to them, something bad happens. Like he's trying to tell you something. He's trying to tell you something. And you're like, but damn, that's my son, that's my daughter, that's my cousin, that's my grandfather. He's trying to tell you something. You need to leave them alone. Some people, especially family, that you got to cut off, you got to pray for them and you got to love them from a distance. Because the Bible says a prophet is accepted and he's not without honor except in his own house. Except in his own house. See, there are strangers you could talk to about this truth, but there's some people in your family you can't talk to about this truth. You hear what I'm saying? And not all of them, you don't need to cut off all of them. The spirit will tell you. I ain't got to tell you. The spirit is telling you. This one here, you can't, you got to leave that one alone. And you got to pray for them and you got to love them from a distance. You can't, closer you get to this one, the worse you're going to get from me. So no. There's some people you can shuck and jive with too much. And the most I say, you know what? You need to cut that off. You need to cut that. You need to cut that off. Okay. And you be like, man, but that's my boy right now. No. You can hang out with some of these other, but not this one here. You need to cut it off, man. Love him or her from a distance. Pray for them. You can pray for them. But no. Listen here. Deuteronomy chapter 13. Deuteronomy chapter 13. Watch this. We read this when we studied Deuteronomy, but it is worth reading again. Deuteronomy chapter 13. Watch this. I'm going to read from verse 1. Let's see. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 10. Watch. This is in the land. This is when we're in the land, right? But we're going to bring it to where we are right now, though we're not in the land. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahweh your Elohim proveth you, to know whether you love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul. Ye shall walk after Yahweh your Elohim, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice. Ye shall serve him, and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death. because he has spoken to turn you away from Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which Yahweh thy Elohim commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put away the evil from the midst of thee. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or the son of thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is in thy own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, and or far off from thee, or from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thine hand shall be the first to put him to death, afterwards the hand of all the people. Then thou shalt stone him with stones that he die, because he has sought to thrust thee away from Yahweh thy Elohim, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Now listen here. We can't put nobody to death. We in Babylon. We not in the land. We can't put nobody to death, but obviously we don't need to be around that person. You understand what I'm saying? Obviously, we got to cut that person off. Obviously, right? And he said, no, look, it's brother, son, mother, daughter, wife. You hear what I'm saying? You obviously got to cut that person off. You can't put nobody to death out here. You in Babylon. You go to jail. It's not for you to do. Okay? That would hinder the work. We're not in the land. But obviously, you got to cut that person off. Obviously. Even if they were cutting pepper, they tell you, we need to go to church. The Most High times we need to go back to church. We shouldn't be afraid to go to church. We shouldn't be afraid to look at we shouldn't worry about looking at other versions of the Bible. There's other versions of the Bible. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. I remember once this brother, he was a good friend of mine. He was a good friend of mine. And he said, man, you got to come to my church. Now, this is before I became an Israelite. And I was convicted to get out of the SDA church, but I wasn't yet convicted to stop calling myself a Christian at that time. So he says to me, no, you got to come to my church. My pastor's into present truth. My pastor's in present truth. And I kept putting him off. And he said, and so finally he said, man, will you please just come to my church one time, just hear my pastor? I knew it was going to be a waste of time just by how he was hyping the man. But I said, okay, I'm going to come to your church, brother. I'm coming. This Sabbath, I'm coming. I came to that brother's church and heard about the driest, dry bone foolishness I've ever heard in my days. And he even knew. He was shaking his head and holding his head in his hand. And he was like, wow, of all days he had to preach like this. I said, man, that's who he is, man. Most High knew I was coming today. It's you that need to wake up. All right? You need to wake up. Talking about your pastor, your church. I came. This is what I heard. This foolishness. He was shaking his head at foolishness. He was talking about this gay rights day. That's what he was preaching, brothers and sisters. And it's AIDS day, gay rights day. This is what he was preaching. The craziest foolishness I ever heard. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, you asked me, you was tripping for months about your pastor talking about come. And so you know what? And he told me the man was in present truth. That's strike one. Then he told me there was this other brother. You got to hook up. He's down in your area. You got to hook up with him. This brother's in present truth. Met this brother. This brother's the closest thing to a Roman Catholic Jesuit you're going to get without wearing the robes, right? I call him Brazzini. I call him Brazzini. Mommy, remember? I call him Brazzini. You know who Brazzini was? Brazzini was the guy that caused Sonny Corleone to get killed in Godfather Part 1. He said, I didn't even know until tonight. It was Brazzini all along. And I met this brother. He said, this brother in present truth. I said, this Brazzini right here. This Brazzini right here. He's about the closest thing to a Jesuit you could be. Right? Strike 2. Then he did something else, strike 3. Now I don't want to talk to him. Oh, you know what? Whatever, man. Whatever. Go on about your business. Go on, man. Keep it moving. I got more important business to take care of, That's it. Strike 3. You understand? I can't be messing around with people that want to mess around with Christianity and be self-deceived, man. You understand? You can't. You don't waste your time with people that want to be self-deceived. Don't waste your time. You got important things to do. There's an important work going on in your soul and in my soul. The Most High is trying to prepare us to receive his righteousness forever. He's trying to cause us to overcome all of Satan's devices, to overcome all sin. He's trying to prepare us for that, for a victory, man. He's preparing us for a final victory over Babylon and over all of Babylon's stuff. We ain't got time to mess around with people that want to be self-deceived. You know, we just don't. And so when the Most High is convicting you, you got to put this brother or this sister or this person, you got to love them from a distance. You got to put that one, you got to cut that one off. Hey, obey the word, obey the spirit, whoever they be, whoever they be. And be honest, be humble, be patient, be meek, be real. You understand? Be real. Like I said, it was the hard thing for me. I'm telling you, you think you and I paid for the plane ticket, round trip. And I had the boy come. He was like, what you calling me all the way to New Hampshire from Minneapolis? I said, listen, this is important. You hear what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters, you hear that's what I'm talking. You see what I'm saying? So, look, man, it's like the other day, sometimes you're a witness and you don't realize you're a witness because the Spirit of the Most High is working through you even when you don't realize he is, right? So the other day, I was talking, there's this young woman that's helping train me at my job, train me on things. She's a very intelligent young woman. She's like 26, 27 years old, intelligent young woman. And I respect her. And we were talking, and I was telling her my wife can't eat nightshade. She said, what's a nightshade? And I said, I assume it's, plants that grow at night. And while I was talking to her, she got on her computer and was Googling nightshades, right? And she said, it doesn't say that here. So then I said, I'll tell you what, let me, and so I Googled it and I saw the first article I saw, it says that these plants flower at night. I said, see, it said it right here. She looked at me because she knows, I have not really been witnessing heavily to her, but she knows I'm an Israelite, okay? And she knows that I'll get into the word. She says, I cannot believe that you just went on, you just, in the first article you saw, you just bought and ran with it. She said, I can't believe you did that. And I started laughing. I said, oh my goodness. I said, you know what? You're right. I said, I can't deny it. I did that. I said, I picked up the first article. I said, okay. I'm gonna have to look up 2 or 3 more articles. I gotta get 2 or 3 witnesses. But you see people watching you. And you gotta admit, I told her, I said, you know what? You're right. I admit it. Because this is what I did. I looked at the first. See, you Google something, you can't just look at the first thing that pops up and think that it's the truth, right? Right? It's like the same thing with the scripture. You gotta look, you gotta search a little bit. But she was watching me and she caught it. She said, I can't believe you did that. I said, did what? She said, you Googled and the first article that came up, you popped that one up and gave it to me. I can't believe you just did that. You just received the first thing you heard. That ain't like you. I was like, oh shoot. I said, you caught me. I said, that's it. I said, you're right. You're right. See, I'm learning to be humble, man. I'm learning. You understand? That's what he's been convicting me, even the small things like that. Just even small things like that, brothers and sisters. And my first reaction, I said, but this is not that important to know whether it's what caused it a nightshade. I just wanted to get some information. She just smirked at me. I said, okay, you're right. I shouldn't have just looked at the first article. I tell you what, I learned a lot about nightshades. And we both did because she looked it up too. But I was like, Dad, people watching you, man. They watching your every move out in the cause. They watching you. And it's because of the righteousness that's resting on you. They looking at you. Even when you don't think they are. And so that's why it's important. We need to humble ourselves. We need to be patient. And we need to be meek. Cool, calm, collected. Trusting the Most High Yah. Bringing all our grievances to him in prayer. Trusting that he heard us. He's not deaf. He heard us. And he's going to answer our prayer. Praise the Most High Yah. Trusting him. And being obedient. That's the object. That's the end of it all. Fear Yah. Keep his command. Being obedient to his word. That's the bottom line. That's what all this is about. That's what the spirit, the power, the Messiah, everything, plan of salvation, whatever else you want to call it. The gospel, justification by faith, all of it designed to get you and I to be obedient. Praise the Most High Yah.